Hello, welcome, Devil Sniper here, and this is episode number 2 in Season 4 for West Ham United. Our career mode is going amazingly. As you can see, this is the transfer window. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the innovation within the players you've listed down. Some really interesting players, some real potential superstars within those, and obviously a few players that cost an absolute bomb. But you're all asking the question, where have I been? What have I been doing? Well, I've been everywhere. I have to say, I've been everywhere. I've been over to Holland, I've been to Russia, I've been to Everton, I went up to Sunderland, I've been to Italy, spent a couple of days in Italy. I had to go to 2 places in Italy. There's a few players that I was really interested in. I've also been over to Argentina, I've popped into Brazil. It's been a real interesting transfer window so far, because there's plenty more to come within this transfer window, because we do have a few issues that do need to be addressed. But first off, we need to address the situation at the back, and I really want to bring in a decent, cultured young centre back under 25 years old, someone who can offer me strength, stamina, good defending statistics. As you see, I've made an offer for Kolka. I spent a bit of time in Sunderland. He really did impress me. And I felt obliged to make the offer because I feel he could bring in such a great piece of... He could become sort of a steel partnership with Tompkins. They could form just an amazing partnership. And I also felt the same with Stefan. When I popped over to Feyenoord, I took Bruno with me. Bruno sort of pointed out a few of his strong points, a few of his weak points as well, but it was never enough to turn me off, and I offered a transfer for Stefan because I feel he could do a fantastic job. He's very cultured, he can play right back, he can play centre back, a little bit like Indy, he can play left back and centre back. And we're looking at the Tank at this moment in time because I'm weighing up the option. As much as I love and adore the Tank, I think he's absolutely amazing. He does have a few issues. His interceptions, sometimes his reading of the game, sometimes his vision, his awareness means that he sort of steps up too much. He puts himself out of position. Don't get me wrong, he has got the pace to get back into position, and don't get me wrong, he has formed probably the greatest Premier League centre-back partnership with Tompkins, and they do really complement each other. But Massey, there's just something about Massey that I absolutely adore. His statistics are amazing. He's a cultured centre-back, a really cultured centre-back. He has a great first touch. He reads the game magnificently. He breaks up play with class. He's powerful. He's great at man marking. He's got good tackling. He really is just a sensational centre-back, and someone I feel who could really benefit from joining West Ham, take his career to the next level, and also, help the players around him, grow, because I feel he could form an amazing partnership with Tompkins. The only problem we're ever going to have with Massey is he's worth such a huge amount of money. I mean, he is worth nigh on 18, 19 million pounds are the sort of cash figures that Juventus are talking about. Hence why I took the long and hard decision to make a potential swap with the Tank for Massey, by decreasing the amount of money we would have to outlay, because we would have to outlay a sensational amount of money, and we'd still have to come up with a sensational wage packet for him. We're talking £80,000-90,000 a week, which is a huge amount of money. Filippo is at this moment in time our top earner with £60,000 a week, which would cause us a few problems because it's written into his contract that he has to basically be the top earner within the club. So if we bought Massey, paid him 90 grand a week, we would essentially have to give Filippo a new contract of £100,000 a week. That's just part and parcel of the deal that we signed. It's not. I'm not too bothered personally. Filippo is well worth 100 grand a week. He is a fantastic player. But as you can see, Juventus came back not really interested. I think they want more cash. I think they will take the Tank, but I think they want more cash. Now, as I say, this is where it's going to get tricky. You can see he's earning 70 grand a week. That's a huge amount of money. It would cost us 80 grand a week if we got hold of him. But the one thing that I'm looking at is the fact that he says he's got a year and 11 months remain on his contract. So for argument's sake, we did not get him in his transfer window, we would definitely be going back, leaving a scout out in Italy and going back and trying, perhaps in January, if not at the beginning of Season 5 summer transfer window, where his contract would be really, really low, and perhaps we could do an amazing deal then. But to be fair, you know, we have got good players, we have got young players coming through, we've got some decent young players coming through, so I'm not going to be pushed into making a sensational transfer just for the sake of it. No, I really want to weigh it up, and at this moment in time I would have to say my number one target is Kolka. Stephen Kolka, at 23 years old, I know he's rated 81, but he really, really does impress me. He has everything I'm looking for to partner Tompkins. Yes, I know he's not the fastest, that's fair enough, but his intelligence, his reading of the game would be essential to West Ham and what we're trying to build at West Ham, and I feel he could definitely offer that to us, and I think he really, really could be an absolute benefit. Now, moving forward, we have a few issues in the striker department. I really do feel that I can't get on with Lukaku. You know, he's a great lad, he's a really nice lad. We get on really, really well, but on the park, there's just something that doesn't click. He's not very good on one-on-ones. You know, he has so many opportunities and he doesn't put them away. I know he's a young lad, but when you have the likes of Benzir sitting on the bench, he will come on and take a half chance. And you have Gudetti, who will take not even a half chance. If he has a sniff of a goal, he will take it. And it's just really worrying and frustrating that we're outlaying a lot of money per week, and we laid out a huge amount of money to bring him to the club, and I just don't know if it's going to work out. It's really, really quite worrying. But as you can see, again, Juventus came back. They're not really interested in the tank, and the money is just not enough, even though it works out to be round about £20 million worth for an actual deal. They're still not interested, and £20 million for a centre-back who doesn't play regularly, who sits on the bench for Juventus, I feel is a huge amount of money, but obviously it's just not enough for Juventus at this current point in time. In other news though, gotta say, team has been doing really well. Pre-season hasn't been going too bad. We've really, really mixed it up. Allowed some of our youth players to play, allowed some of the younger players to get a couple of games under their belts, you know, rest our big players, because we have a big game coming up against Arsenal in the Community Shield. That's going to be a huge game, and obviously I don't want to be overplaying my players, because we have quite a hectic beginning to the season. After Community Shield, we know we've got a couple of league games, or I think we've got a league game, and then we're playing in the Champions Cup, and then we've got a league game and a Champions Cup game, all in the course of about a week and a half. So we'll be playing about 5-6 games in literally 15 days, which is pretty much ridiculous, to be honest, and quite a hectic schedule. And obviously we don't want to be picking up any stupid injuries or having players out for any sort of time. So I'm not going to be overplaying players, obviously, and we're going back in for Kolka because I feel a deal can be done, and he is, at this current point in time, he's my number one target, and I make the biggest decision I think we've ever made in this career mode. I can only liken this decision to offer the tank to Sunderland plus £3 million as the day we sold Gabs. It is that significant. It is that much of a hard decision. It was really something that I didn't want to do, but I felt that it was for the best for the club. I felt that we'd be able to take the club forward with Kolka. I feel Kolka's got the ability to grow and become a better player than the tank, which is saying something, because the tank is absolutely audacious. He has been an absolute rock for so long at the centre-back position with Tompkins. But as I say, there's little parts of his game that have come to fruition where he just pulls himself out of position, leaves us a little bit open, and I feel that's why we conceded so many goals last season. That plus the fact he was out for such a significant period of time, and we seemed to cope very, very well. And in fact, I would say Tompkins grew and became a better player without the tank beside him. So I feel Kolka can come in and just be an absolutely audacious player. As you can see, I got onto the old BlackBerry, made some inquiries about players. Gabs is still in my thinking. I know a few people may not be impressed with that, but Gabs is just such a legend. He was everything to this club, and a player I would really like to bring back. Sergio, as you can see, they want £13 million. Is a huge amount of money. I don't know if we can stretch to that. As you see, the money that people are asking for in Season 4 is just absolutely huge, and we're working on a budget as normal. And as you know, we don't have a huge budget, but that's never really bothered us because we've built a fantastic team on such a minimal budget. We then get an audacious approach for Eduardo. Now, I received a phone call and I thought it was a bit of a hoax. It was Real Madrid, and they were saying that they would like to approach us for Eduardo. And I basically told them, go on, just do one. And in fact, it was Real bloody Madrid. Would we accept it? Don't be bloody stupid. Rejected, rejected, rejected. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. There's plenty more content to come.